You have big dreams of losing weight and creating a healthy, joyful life. But you find yourself craving sugar, caught up in what the scale says, and diet hopping. Dieting is the old way of losing weight. And the good news is I'm going to give you a new way of eating so you can ditch diets for good and build a healthy relationship with real food. My name is Megan Olson, certified nutrition practitioner, creator of Skinny Fitalicious, and your host of the Dish on Diets show.
Hello, friends. Today I've got a great topic to talk to you about. I'm talking to you about why you're not doing what you should be doing. Typically, when I hear this from a client, it comes out something like this. Why am I not doing what I should be doing, Megan? I don't know what's wrong with me. So let's say you're working on improving your habits. You're working on getting healthier. You're working on getting fitter, losing some body fat. But for some reason, you just can't seem to do the things you know you should do. You have the tools. You know what to do. You've got a plan. You've got direction. Maybe you even have a coach. But you just can't seem to do the things. You just can't seem to put anything into action or do it consistently. Or maybe you do things like inconsistently here and there, and you're just like, I just can't figure out what's wrong with me. Why can't I get my act together? Why can't I just do these things? It's so simple. I don't understand why I'm not doing anything. I want to lose weight. I want to get healthier. I want to be a good example to my family and kids. My health is important to me, but I just can't figure out what's wrong with me and why I'm not doing what I should be. I hired a coach. I purchased a program. I know I should track my food. I know I should pay attention to protein and fiber. I know I should walk more and pay attention to my steps. I know I should strength train, but I'm not doing any of it. Okay, gang. So listen, I've been coaching women over 35 for about 10 years now in my nutrition practice, and this is something I hear frequently. Megan, why am I not doing what I should be doing? What's wrong with me? So the interesting thing I have observed is that most women know what to do. They know the stuff. They know they need to eat 3 balanced meals a day. They know they need to eat protein and fiber. They know they need to get their daily steps, do some exercise and strength training. These are the basics of weight loss that I actually spoke about in podcast episode 102, the 5 basics of weight loss. Most women know they should be doing these things. Sometimes they're unsure about how much protein and fiber, but most women, they know they should be doing these things and they're just not doing them. Now, I will say most individuals who are dieting are way too extreme with their food choices and exercise. They've done so much dieting throughout the course of their life and have dieted to an extreme that now they have a very poor relationship with food and their bodies. They've been mentally dieting for years, and this kind of takes a ding on your self-esteem. So now, when these individuals think about doing any type of healthy habit, their mind automatically goes to, oh my God, I'm going to have to be super strict again. I'm going to have to restrict all my favorite foods. I can only eat healthy foods, no bad foods. All bad foods are off limit. I have to be super rigid with my diet and exercise to get results. This is the automatic default thinking that most individuals' brains go to when they just think about getting healthier, losing some body fat, and working on maybe even one habit. They go to this extreme dieter's mindset, and it scares them. They get scared, and then they rebel. They're like, oh yeah, I don't want to have to do that. I spoke about this actually in podcast episode 103, why weight loss is so hard, and episode 92, the mental diet. The mental diet is probably one of my most popular podcast episodes. So those are good episodes for you to go back and listen to because it goes along with the stuff we're talking about today. But the message here is that most people, their mind goes to this extreme dieting immediately. Like they may just be thinking about a 10-minute walk and all of a sudden they're thinking about, oh my God, it's going to be so scary. I'm going to fail. I'm probably not going to get it all right. It's probably not going to be enough. And then I'm going to be super strict with all my foods. I can't eat any bad foods. Like literally all they're thinking about is a 10-minute walk. And all of a sudden their mind's going crazy about all these other things. And it scares them. And they want to rebel. They don't want anything to do with rigidity and restriction and hard stuff, right? But eventually, at some point, these individuals are like, well, I still want to lose some weight. I still want to get healthier. These things are still important to me. I want to be fitter. So I'm going to go do this new diet. I'm going to try this new program. And this new diet or program will be the answer, maybe. I mean, maybe they even hire a coach. So then they start the new diet or program, and at some point they find they're just not doing anything. They're not following the program. They're not following the plan their coach outlined for them. And they're showing up to calls going, oh, I don't know why I'm not doing what I should be doing. What's wrong with me? I see this happen with clients from time to time, and I've of course have seen this throughout the years. Clients are humming along, learning their habits, practicing their habits, and then at some point they just stop doing stuff. And I have had clients, not many, but a few, who from the very beginning just do nothing. Typically, I vet those clients out in my consultations, and I can tell who's going to do stuff and who's not. But every once in a while, a few people slip in, and they just don't do anything, no matter what I say, no matter what I do. And this is the thing, like, if you hire a coach can't do the work for you. You still have to do the work. So, like with these individuals, I would say, let's just work on getting one thing. Like, let's just work on getting protein at breakfast, or let's just work on a daily 10-minute walk. Let's not worry about the rest. Let's just do this one habit. Let's just work on this one thing, one baby step at a time. And for these clients, they won't do it. There's like a failure to launch. And then inevitably, with either scenario, when this happens, the clients that are doing these kinds of things, whether they kind of do it from the beginning or they do it, some way midpoint throughout the program, eventually the client comes to the call and says to me, Megan, what's wrong with me? Why am I not doing what I should be? They're frustrated, feeling defeated, and sometimes on the verge of saying, screw it. Some even say to me, why should I bother trying? The ironic thing is they're not even trying, but they still say that to me, and they don't even realize the irony in the stuff that they're saying to me. Some clients will even tell me, I know I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing what I should be doing. I'm not going on a 10-minute walk. I'm not working on my protein at breakfast. I don't understand why I'm not doing anything. What's wrong with me, Megan? And then in the same train of thought, these individuals will say to me, well, Megan, I'm not getting results anyway. I'm so frustrated because I'm not getting results. Do you spot the problem here? Like, they're admitting to me that they're not doing anything and asking me what's wrong with them, yet complaining they're not getting results. This line of thinking doesn't even make sense. Like, it's crazy that these people don't even question their own line of thinking. Like, that's like somebody saying, why am I not getting an A at school, but they never do any of the assignments, they never show up for any of the tests or quizzes? What? You can't expect A or even B results when you're putting in a D or F effort. And yes, I have had clients who've done this. They expect results, and they think they shouldn't have to do anything. Like, their thinking doesn't even make sense. Like, their thinking is totally disconnected. You can't expect results when you're not doing anything. So, anyways, the more important question here is, why does this happen? Why are you not doing what you know you should be doing? Why are you not following through? So I'm going to share with you why, and it has nothing to do with your program, unless, of course, your program is super restrictive and strict and rigid and cutting out foods and foods that you love. But assuming your program is not doing those things and your coach is giving you manageable habits to practice with guidance and direction, then the reason why you're not doing what you should be doing has nothing to do with the program. I guarantee that. Oh, and it has nothing also to do with how much you want weight loss either. I say this because sometimes clients will say to me, I must not want this bad enough. I must not really want to lose weight. I must not want to get healthy. It's none of those things, my dear. The real problem here as to why you're not doing what you should be doing is because you have a bully inside of you that you're mentally battling with. That internal bully is judgmental and harsh. So, every time you start a new program, or every time you start working on doing just one simple habit, like doing just a 10-minute daily walk, or drinking more water, or working on protein at breakfast, tracking your food, whatever it is, that internal bully starts to show up. So you start working, let's say, on a 10-minute walk, and the internal bully says, 10 minutes isn't going to be good enough. This is going to take forever. I'm never going to lose weight at this rate. Or you start working on, let's say, your protein at breakfast, and a few days you screw up. Maybe you were out of town, had family visiting, were traveling, or you just got off track for whatever reason. The internal bully starts to say, you can't do this. You're always screwing up. You can never stick with anything. You can't even do something as simple as breakfast. You're never going to figure this out. Or maybe let's say you begin tracking your food and you realize it's hard to track your food because you're a beginner. And anything new is always hard when you're a beginner. But now, because you're a beginner and it's hard, your internal bully starts to say, you're never going to be able to do this. This is so much work. You're way too busy to track your food. How are you going to do this when you go to a restaurant? How are you going to do this when you travel? Look at all the terrible, unhealthy food you're eating. Look at all of those cookies you ate earlier today. How are you ever going to track this? It's impossible to track. Or maybe let's say you get off track a few days with tracking and you just stop tracking. Now your internal bully says, you're never going to be able to do this. There's no way you can get back on track. And even if you do, you screwed up and ruined all your progress. You're starting all over from day one. You're always starting over. You can never stick with anything. You're probably not going to be able to do this anyway. Look at all the other times you failed and quit in the past. This time will probably be the same. Now, whatever the scenario is, right, I'm just giving you a bunch of different what-if scenarios, and these are honestly things I've seen over and over again. But no matter what the scenario is, this is the negative chatter or stinky thinking that you have. The negative chatter feels terrible, awful, terrible, 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 awful, awful, awful. And when you have this terrible, awful, negative internal chatter or stinky thinking, guess what happens to your motivation? It goes right down the stinking toilet. No one wants to sit around listening to this constant negativity. It's judgmental, harsh, mean, and it's putting you down. So if you have this internal negativity that's playing in your mind, guess what? You are going to feel unmotivated from this negativity, and eventually you are going to want relief from the negativity. You want relief from the bully. You don't want to have to hear the bully anymore. You want to get away from the negativity and the bully. Makes sense. Nobody wants to have to sit around listening to this all day. Imagine if you had a friend who was a bully like this and they were constantly putting you down and being harsh and judgmental. You wouldn't want to hang out with them, right? So now you're looking for relief from your internal bully, from your negative mind chatter. That's why you're not doing the stuff you're supposed to be doing. You committed to doing this and you're not doing anything. Here you go again. You're failing again. You always do this. You never follow through. That's what your internal bully is saying. And this negative chatter is like a bully, and you're looking for relief from that bully and the negative self-talk. You're thinking, I want out of this. I don't want to have to try doing this stuff anymore. This is too hard. I don't want to have to listen to this negative internal chatter. I want to get away from this negative internal chatter. I want away from the bully. If I stop the program or stop trying, I can get away from this. I don't have to hear any of this negativity anymore. I can stop feeling bad about myself. I can stop listening to this harsh, judgmental bully who's really mean. You see what I mean? You want relief from the bully. You want relief from your own negative self-talk. So then you think you're brilliant with a thought error. That if you stop working on your habits, you quit the program, you stop trying, then you think you won't have to listen to this negativity and feel bad anymore. You think you're going to get away from the bully. But here's the truth. The very next time you start to work on a habit or work on a new program or work with a new coach, the internal bully and the negative chatter is going to appear again. It is not going to go away because you, my friend, are in the habit of being a bully to yourself. Being a jerk to yourself. Yes, I just said that. You are a jerk to yourself. You would never, ever think of talking the way you talk to yourself to people you love. But you have a lower standard for yourself, and you think you are doing yourself a big old favor by being hard on yourself. You think by being hard on yourself, you will feel more motivated. But the opposite is true. No one is ever motivated from negativity. Children are the easiest way to see this. If you have a child that you are constantly berating and putting down, and saying just negative and hurtful things and just never giving them any positive reinforcement, it's very easy to see what starts to happen. So let's say you're constantly like, I know you did the dishes, but you didn't do them well enough. I know you tried to clean your room, but you forgot to pick up your clothes. I know you got a B on your report card, but why didn't you get an A? I know you tried your best at soccer practice, but why didn't you score the last 2 goals? You shouldn't have missed them. Imagine what would happen to that child that you constantly put down like this. Do you think they would suddenly and magically just feel more motivated to try harder and do better after you're just berating them and putting them down all the time? No, they're going to shut down. They're not going to try harder. The opposite's going to happen. They're going to stop trying because there's no positive reinforcement of their behavior, of the fact that they're trying their best and they're practicing and they're still learning. Now, you put yourself in the place of the child. You are no different just because you are an adult. Do you think just because you're an adult that your psychology doesn't work the same way? No, it's just easier to see with children how this happens. You need compassion and positive reinforcement as much as a child does because you're learning new things. You're learning new habits. And this is something you have to practice and learn to do for yourself. The good news is, you already know how to do this. Yes, you do. I know you don't believe me, but you do. How would you speak to a friend? I'm sure you would never say to a good friend, "What's wrong with you? Why are you not doing what you should be doing?" Right? Could you imagine saying that to a friend? Like, you've got a friend who's trying to get healthier, maybe lose some body fat, and she gets off track and, binges on pizza one night, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to do this, friend. I don't know. I'm doubting myself." And then you come in and you're like, as their best friend, you're like, "Yeah, you're right. What's wrong with you? Why aren't you doing what you should be doing?" I mean, you would not be a good friend. You would not be supportive, compassionate, kind, positive, right? I mean, think about it. What would you say to them? I know you know what you would say to a friend. The key here is you must practice saying those kind and compassionate words to yourself because you are in the habit of being a bully towards yourself and you don't even realize it. I see it all the time with clients. Most of them, until I start pointing out how they're talking and what I'm hearing, they don't realize that these things are even coming out of their mouth because it's so habitual. I mean, if you want the number one guaranteed way to put your motivation in the toilet and never feel like doing anything, never feel motivated, keep talking to yourself like a jerk. Keep being a jerk towards yourself. Keep being a bully. Keep speaking to yourself negatively. Keep saying to yourself, "Why am I not doing what I should be doing? What's wrong with me?" Here's the thing. You don't get to act confused anymore about why this is going on. You're not doing what you know you should be doing because of the internal bully and negative mind chatter. By not doing anything, it gives you relief from the negative mind chatter. But the problem is the relief is temporary, and once you start a new diet, a new program, a new coach, it doesn't fix any of that. Food doesn't fix you being negative to yourself. A food plan, a diet plan doesn't fix you being a bully to yourself. You start a new diet, you start a new program, you get a new coach, and the negative mind chatter starts up all over again. The bully shows up all over again, and you're back exactly where you were. This is why a lot of you continue to be on this hamster wheel, honestly. Right here, what I'm talking to you about today. This is the problem. And that's because your mind is the real problem. And it's definitely not that you don't want to be healthy or that you don't want to lose weight or that you can't do this. Anybody can do this. Heck, if I can do it, you surely can. But if you always let your mind get in the way, it will constantly be a battle for you. You have to practice your self-talk as much as you practice walking, protein, fiber, strength training, etc. But first of all, it starts with you having self-awareness about how you're even talking to yourself in the first place, how you're even thinking about things in the first place. Here's something else a lot of clients say to me that's kind of along these lines, the same lines as why am I not doing what I should be? And it's, I'm so out of control. Could you imagine saying that to a friend? You're so out of control. It's belittling, judgmental, harsh, rude. If you said that to a friend, would they be your friend anymore? No. That friend would divorce you with a capital D. Saying I'm so out of control feels terrible. It's harsh. It's awful. It's mean. It feels terrible, terrible, terrible to think a thought like I'm so out of control. This is where a lot of you don't even realize how your stinky thinking gets in the way of you doing the very basic things it takes to create new habits, learn new habits, practice new habits, and lose some body fat. The actions that it takes to lose weight and create a sustainable lifestyle are really very basic. I spoke about this in episode 102, the 5 basics of weight loss. The actions are simple and basic. Well, they're simple when you stop listening to all the fear-mongering people, spewing crazy nonsense like don't eat carbs, don't eat fruit, eat your foods in a certain order, don't eat dairy, don't eat meat, don't eat vegetables, you'll die. When you stop listening to all of those people, it's very simple. Put your blinders on. Don't listen to these people. Many of you fall victim to this stupid nonsense, and so I get it. It can be confusing. But truthfully, that's not the problem the majority of you have. The majority of you have a mindset problem. And because of that, you never establish new habits and you never get consistent with anything to see lasting results. So what you must understand is when you are speaking to yourself like a jerk, you drive your motivation into the ground. Then you don't want to do anything. It makes sense why you don't want to do anything. It's because you're talking to yourself like a bully. Most of you don't realize this, though. You're not aware that you're doing this. And then you act confused, like, I don't understand why I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing because you're being a bully to yourself. And you would never think of talking to a friend or family member that you cared about this way. Imagine speaking to them and saying, you're so out of control. What's wrong with you? Why can't you get it together? Why are you so out of control? You're probably not going to be able to do this. You should probably give up. Would you say that to them? No, never. But you sure are in the habit of saying it to yourself, but you don't even realize that you're doing it. You know, when I coach a client who's doing this kind of stuff, they are doing this kind of negative self-talk subconsciously. It pours out of their mouth, and I catch them saying it, and often it doesn't even register with them that they have done this. So when I repeat it back to them, they're kind of surprised, like, did I really just say that? But most of the time, they hear themselves saying it, but they don't really get why it's a problem until I repeat it back to them and highlight with the friend scenario. Like, would you speak to a friend that way? Is this how you would speak to them? Once I do that, then they kind of get it. They're like, oh yeah, that is pretty harsh. I mean, I have yet to have a client say, well, sure, Megan, I'd speak to a family member or friend that way. No one has ever said that to me. Yes, Megan, this is how I would speak to somebody I care about. Never. Everyone always says, well, no, I'd never tell anybody that. I'd say, you can do this. I'd tell them they can figure this out. They can work out one habit at a time, or they can get right back on track. Interesting. Ironic how all of you know exactly what you would say to a friend or family member, but you can't seem to say it to yourself. But this is why you're kind of off, kind of on, kind of off, kind of on. You're not feeling it. You're not super motivated. This is why. Because subconsciously you're having this negative self-talk and you're in the habit of putting yourself down, tearing yourself to pieces. If you want change, you have to work on talking to yourself better and catching yourself when you're acting like a jerk towards yourself. So instead of saying, I'm so out of control, work on saying things to yourself like, I'm practicing new habits. I'm learning new habits. I can learn new habits. I can find a solution to all of this. I can work on one habit at a time. Much more motivating than just saying, I'm so out of control, or what's wrong with me? Why am I not doing what I should be doing? Saying what's wrong with me keeps you stuck in a fixed mindset. I can never change. This is who I always will be. This is how I always will be. I probably won't be able to do this, so why bother trying? That is all a fixed mindset. A better mindset is solution-based. What can I try? What might work? What other areas of my life have I been successful in that may give me a glimmer of hope that I can make these changes? What changes have I already made that show me I'm going in the direction of where I want to go? Notice these questions lead you to solutions, and they are also more neutral and factual. They're not so dramatic, like, what's wrong with me? Why am I not doing what I should be doing? Or I'm so out of control. That's kind of dramatic. Neutral and factual questions are going to help you move forward. They're going to help you solve the problem versus the fixed mindset of what's wrong with me or why am I not doing what I should be doing. That mindset's going to keep you stuck. It's going to keep you stuck on a hamster wheel of just like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Like you're a victim. So here's the thing. If you like being stuck, you like where you are and want to stay there, then keep asking these type of bad questions. Keep asking questions that keep you stuck. Keep being a jerk to yourself. Keep bullying yourself. If you really like that, then stay there. But recognize that 1 year from now, you will be exactly in the same place that you are today with that mindset. However, if you don't want to stay where you are right now, you do want to change, then start asking solution-based questions. Start being kind and compassionate towards yourself. I did a podcast called Dropping Self-Judgment a while back. It is episode 63. The biggest thing I have observed women struggling with in the 10 years that I've been doing this job is they are so hard on themselves and judgmental towards themselves. They would never do that to other people, but towards themselves, they really are harsh and mean. So if you struggle with the things that I'm talking about today, I want you to give podcast episode 63 a listen right after you get done with this one, because it goes along with everything we're talking about today. And remember what I said, if you want to be different 1 year from now, this is the thing that you need to work on, because food is not really the problem. It's the internal bully. It's the negative mind chatter, the negative self-talk. You have to learn how to stop putting yourself down, and you can't wait until you lose weight to be proud of yourself or give yourself some positive reinforcement. You can't wait. And I think that's what most of you do. You think, I'll be proud of myself once I lose the weight, once I fit into my clothes. No. That has to start from the beginning. Whether it's just going on a 10-minute walk, whether it's just writing down your food every day, whether it's tracking your food in an app, whether it's eating protein, whatever the small habit is that you're working on, you start feeling proud from day one and you start stacking up those wins right away. Because motivation will go into the toilet if you don't, and if you're in the habit of being a jerk to yourself. Okay? So ladies, I hope that today's episode was helpful for you. I'm very thankful that you are here and listening. If you have been enjoying the podcast, I ask that you take a minute to leave a 5-star rating and review. Those ratings and reviews help other women who are struggling like you. It helps them find the podcast, so they really do help out. Also, please make sure you are subscribed to the podcast on whatever platform you're listening to this on so that you never miss an episode, okay? I'll chat with you soon.
Hey, if you enjoyed this podcast, you have to come check out my free weight loss class. It's the 5 steps to lasting weight loss, how hormones impact weight loss, and the truth about lasting weight loss without relying on willpower, workouts, or deprivation. Click the link in the show notes to watch that free class today. And if you are a woman over 35 with 20 to 50 or more pounds to lose, schedule a free weight loss breakthrough session with me after you watch that class, and let's talk about your 20 to 50 or more pound weight loss plan.